So you're thinking about a career as a Social Security administrator, huh? Public service, making a real difference. That's great.
Yeah.
But let's be real for a sec. Most people hear Social Security and they think paperwork, regulations, the whole nine yards.
Right.
We're diving into these RoleCatcher pages today to uncover what this job is really about. What do you think? What stood out to you in these?
It's interesting. What struck me is how RoleCatcher paints this picture of Social Security administrators, not just as people who, process benefits, but as like the architects of the system itself.
Architects. Okay, now I'm really intrigued. Tell me more about that. What do they mean by that?
So they design and develop these Social Security programs, and they're influencing policy, and they're constantly working to improve the system. They're not just cogs in the machine.
Right.
They're the ones making sure that the machine actually works the way it's supposed to for people.
Wow. That's not a side of the job you often hear about. It's way more proactive than I imagined. What does that actually look like day to day, though?
So RoleCatcher highlights these key tasks, like digging into existing policies, really getting to the bottom of what's working, what's not. Then they're the ones who identify the issues, propose solutions. So we're talking serious critical thinking, some creativity, real problem solving.
Huh. It's like being a detective for social change, but instead of finding the culprit, you're actually figuring out how to fix the crime.
Exactly. Yeah. And here's another thing, too. You're not doing it alone.
Right.
This is a collaborative environment where you're working with government officials, beneficiaries, your own team, all kinds of different people.
Yeah, I can see how those people skills would really come in handy because you're dealing with these sensitive situations and navigating bureaucracy. That takes a certain touch, don't you think?
Absolutely. Those soft skills, active listening, communicating clearly, empathy, those are just as vital as like your actual policy knowledge in this line of work.
Okay, that makes sense. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, work-life balance. Everyone wants to know, is this a rewarding career path? Or is it going to burn you out,
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
RoleCatcher, they don't really shy away from the challenges.
Okay.
They say it can be demanding, heavy workload, complex regulations, and let's face it, working with people in vulnerable situations, that can be emotionally taxing.
It sounds like you need a good dose of resilience to thrive in that kind of environment.
Definitely. But on the flip side, they highlight the pros. Stable job, good salary, real potential for advancement.
Right.
And that coveted job security.
Yeah.
Plus, the work-life balance can actually be pretty good, especially compared to some other high-pressure careers.
It's a trade-off, I guess, like most things in life. But you're not just pushing papers, you're potentially shaping policy, making a real difference in people's lives.
Right.
That's got to be rewarding in itself.
It is. But let's be realistic. To do that effectively, you need a specific set of skills.
Yeah, of course.
RoleCatcher really emphasizes reading comprehension, active listening, and critical thinking as those are non-negotiables.
Yeah.
You're constantly researching, analyzing policies, formulating recommendations based on what you find.
So you got to love digging into the details, connecting the dots.
Exactly.
What about the actual education? What kind of background are we talking about here for aspiring Social Security administrators?
You see the usual suspects there: public administration, social work, political science.
Yeah, those make sense.
Those make a lot of sense. They give you a really solid understanding of how government systems work.
Right, which is key.
Which is absolutely key.
So those are the obvious ones. What about some of the less obvious recommendations? Did RoleCatcher point to any surprises?
Well, they also mentioned economics, sociology,
Okay.
even public policy.
Interesting.
So, it really highlights how this field draws on all these different perspectives, different kinds of expertise.
You know what? I never thought about how relevant economics would be to social work. But it makes sense. It just shows how interconnected these issues really are.
Absolutely.
So it's not just about having one specific degree, it sounds like. It's about having this well-rounded understanding of the whole social safety net.
Exactly.
That's really interesting. And that makes sense when you think about how this field is always evolving. Technology, policies, even societal needs are constantly changing.
Right.
To really stay ahead of the curve, you need that broader perspective.
You got it.
Okay, so let's say you've got the education, you're passionate about this kind of work. How do you actually break into the field?
Well, RoleCatcher, they emphasize the importance of that hands-on experience.
Of course.
And that's where internships and volunteering, that's where they come in.
Right.
They suggest looking for opportunities with government agencies or nonprofits,
Makes sense.
and ones that focus on Social Security or related programs.
Right.
And they say even if it's not a paid position right away,
Sure.
it shows commitment and it gives you a real feel for what you'd be doing day to day.
It's about proving that you're serious about public service. You're not afraid to roll up your sleeves. Get involved.
That's it.
It's more than just checking a box on your resume.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to start small.
Right.
Even like administrative or support roles within these organizations, they can be super valuable
Okay.
because you'll gain those insights, you'll make connections, start building your network.
Yeah, you got to get your foot in the door, start proving yourself. So let's talk about the long game for a second. What does career advancement even look like in this field?
Well, a lot of times it means taking on more and more responsibility, maybe leading a team, shaping strategy for your department,
Okay.
even influencing policy at a higher level.
So you could go from analyzing policies to actually being one of the people crafting them. That's pretty amazing.
That's right.
Speaking of amazing, let's talk about RoleCatcher itself for a second. They offer a lot more than just information on how to be a Social Security administrator, right? They have all these different tools to help people actually land the job. What about those? What stood out to you about their tools?
I think it's really cool their commitment to providing a whole toolkit,
Yeah.
not just a job board.
Right.
They've got those interview prep resources, help with your resume and CV, even tools for exploring different career paths.
It's like having a personal career coach in your back pocket.
Right.
But what really caught my eye was all the AI stuff.
Right.
Those tools sound like a total game changer, especially with how competitive the job market is these days.
For sure.
Can you break down how they work and why they're so effective?
So their AI, it's designed to give you a serious leg up.
Okay.
For example, it can analyze job descriptions
Okay.
and really pinpoint the exact skills employers are looking for.
So no more guessing games.
Right.
Or hoping your resume just has all the right keywords.
You got it.
You're getting real insights straight from the source. That's
Yeah.
smart.
Exactly. And it's not just keywords either.
Okay.
Their AI can actually watch your interview videos and give you feedback
Oh, really?
on like your delivery, your body language,
Wow.
even what you're saying, the content of your answers.
So you're not just practicing in the mirror, you're getting actual feedback
You got it.
on how you come across, which is so important, especially in a field like this where communication is everything.
Exactly. It's like having a coach who's analyzing your every move, helping you refine your whole approach and just exude confidence.
That's got to be so valuable, especially for a role like this where you're interacting with so many different people from all walks of life.
Absolutely.
It's like having this secret weapon for your job hunt.
Totally.
We've covered a lot of ground today, what it's actually like being a Social Security administrator day to day, the skills you need, the education, even how these RoleCatcher tools can help you get hired.
Yeah.
But beyond just the what, I think we should talk about the why,
Yeah.
What kind of person really thrives in a role like this?
You're right. It's not just a job. It's got to be something more.
What are some of the things that would motivate someone to do this kind of work?
Well, at the heart of it, it's about being a voice for people who really need it, making sure that everyone has access to this essential safety net, right?
Right.
It's about fairness. It's about equity within the system.
It's about making a difference.
Exactly. You're impacting lives.
We hear so much negativity around Social Security, budget cuts, and political stuff, and just people who need help who are slipping through the cracks.
Yeah.
To be on the inside, working to make the system better, that's got to feel pretty good.
It does, but it takes a special kind of commitment.
For sure.
RoleCatcher talked about this idea of like continuous learning and development, and that really resonated with me. This isn't a field where you just, learn the ropes and coast.
Right. It's always changing.
Right.
There are always new challenges, new policies, new ways to serve people. You got to be adaptable, always learning, always trying to improve.
That's it, because the work is never really done,
And that's a great point to end on, I think. We've really broken down what it means to be a Social Security administrator, the skills you need, how to use tech to your advantage, but the why is personal.
Yeah, that's up to you.
What kind of impact do you want to make? That's the question to think about as you explore this career path.